Hey, this is Barryn Sorrell. You're watching Third and Longhorn. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hook 'em.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another special interview edition of Third and Longhorn. Today we have, I believe, Alex Okafor's most anticipated episode. He's been waiting for this one. Welcome, Barryn Sorrell, man. Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
Man, well, so we always start these off the exact same way. You had a cool story because I think you're out of all the guys we've interviewed, you're the second that was committed somewhere else and then flipped over to Texas. And I know it was Northwestern at the time. Talk a little bit about your recruiting process and how you got to Texas.
Yeah, my recruiting process was just very different, obviously, with COVID going on at the time. So just with me switching positions, I played tight end at first. So yeah, and then I switched it to my junior. I switched to defensive end my junior year. And then that's when my recruiting started picking up. But then that's also when COVID kind of struck. So at the same time, I was just kind of trying to obviously feel my way out. Didn't really have that much exposure at the time, just being able to actually get to schools because of COVID. So Northwestern was one of those early schools that was just on me early. And they just offered the whole package with just academics and football. And that's kind of what I bought into at the time. And then Texas came along, and then it was just kind of like, I knew what I wanted to do football-wise, and that's why I made that decision.
Yeah, no, so whenever you see a kid, like there's certain schools out there, Northwestern, Stanford, like these high academic schools, you see a kid committed to a school like that, you got to know he takes his academics seriously. I'm assuming that's the case for you, right? Like, how seriously do you take your academics?
Yeah, I take it very seriously, just knowing that obviously there's a life outside of football. So especially that's kind of what my parents implemented me at a young age. So I just knew that. And then with Northwestern obviously being at school that they are academically, I knew that, I couldn't make a wrong choice by committing there.
I want to hear, and I'm probably still in one of yours, Oak, but like talk about the battles in practice. We talk a lot about the trenches and how the game's won in there. Like, who are the guys that make you better day in and day out on the team? And then talk a little bit about some of the hardest guys you've had to go against outside of Texas.
Right. Every day, it started with guys you could start with Christian. He's an older guy that's literally up for the draft right now. Just had a good Senior Bowl. Just competing with a guy like that. We talking every day after practice, and that just goes a long way. Just talking after practice about what he's seeing, some things that I could be doing, and some things he could be doing differently. And then it go to Kelvin, a young guy who come in, and he's very talented, and we push each other every day. So that's a battle every day on both sides for me. So I look forward to that every day because it just pushes me to get better, and then I'm also helping them get better as well.
Yeah. And who outside of guys on the team, like who out of everybody y'all played last year, who were some of the guys that stood out in your mind?
That stood out in my mind. Obviously, you go to Alabama, you got J.C. Latham. That was a good matchup. We played last year too, so we had 2 years of going against each other. So that was some good competition to push myself against. And then the Oklahoma game as well. You got Tyler Guyton, who's about to get drafted as well, pretty high. So that was some pretty good competition and some good battles. There's a bunch of guys that I didn't play against. Being in the arena that we in at Texas and having a competition. The list goes on and on. But yeah, some of the guys from last year.
Okay, so since we're on the subject of last year, obviously we lost a ton of production with T. Sweat leaving, with Big Murph leaving. What did those guys mean to you, and kind of how did they help you in your career along the way? Man,
that was my boys, man. Me and Murph came in together since day one, and that's my brother. Outside of the field, that's my brother, and even Sweat, that's my brother too. And just on the field, we just learned how to play together. It's like, it's different when you can play together and you know how to critique each other. Like, they could tell me something and I don't get in my feelings. I could tell them something, they don't get in their feelings. And that was just something that we kind of developed that I just feel like showed a lot last year with our chemistry, especially with run stopping. I could rely on them a lot, and I know they could rely on me a lot. But yeah, some of the things I take away from their game is just, dominance. Both of them, they're some pretty big, powerful guys that just every play tried to impose their will, and that's kind of the mindset we kind of had last year. And that's something I'm definitely always going to be playing with.
And you kind of shedded light on it a little bit, but that chemistry is important, especially as a rusher. Like, when people start talking about rush lanes, like, it's not always scripted. Like, a lot of it is feel, and you got to build that chemistry. You got to build that feel between the players. So looking at this year's D-line, it's not going to look completely different, but there'll be a couple new faces in there. How do you start to build that chemistry up front?
I mean, it starts now. I mean, with all of this workouts and we got just play run practice, stuff like that, and just meeting. I mean, that's stuff that's important that, I mean, obviously I didn't know when I was a young guy, but now I know, so I'm putting emphasis on it. And some of the older guys that are returning are as well, so we just kind of got to get on that same page because, I mean, it's not time to take a back step just because people have left. So we just got to build that chemistry again.
Yeah, I think we've talked to a lot of guys as they come through here and ask people who we see as the true leaders on the team for next season, and we've had a lot of them mention your name. Like, how does that happen for you? Like, because I know you've obviously gone up the ranks, et cetera. Like, what does that mean to you to be a leader?
Like you just said it. I mean, it comes with going up the ranks. I mean, I'm definitely one of the guys that was there since my freshman year. That just, I mean, a lot of people could trust me, and I just always put the work first. And I feel like that's obviously why a lot of people could just look up to me, and also vocally as well. Last year I just got kind of more vocal. I mean, that comes with play, like you said as well, coming up the ranks. You can't just start talking before you start making plays. So as I started doing that, becoming more vocal and just being a leader and just wanting the guys around me to be better. And that's just something I kind of challenged myself with last year. And I feel like that's kind of what's trickling over into this year, why people are expecting that from me, just because, I mean, I push everybody in my room every day, and I can honestly say that.
Yeah, and you being older now, obviously that you saw that when you were younger. Who, when you showed up on campus, grabbed you and kind of took you under their wing and showed you the ropes?
Oh, we had some guys. We got guys like Demo. That's defensively, I say guys like Demo that he was a great guy that just led by example. I mean, he played fast every chance he got. He got guys like Rowe. I mean, I'm in the locker room when he gave that speech after Kansas, and that's the type of things that you just, as a young guy, getting to where I am, you just take little things like that and experiences and just learn from it, so then you could use those experiences to lead the other guys.
Yeah.
Looking at your season last year, or let's go 2 years ago, 5.5 sacks. Last year, 4 sacks. And the funny thing about defensive end is sacks don't always reflect your impact on the game. But for the fans out there, they'd look at that and be like, oh, well, it kind of looks like Sorrell took a step back last season. I don't think that's the case because I've watched the tape. But my question is, what are you doing this offseason to ensure that you have that major leap into next season?
Like you said, I mean, you know from experience, there's a lot that go into it, a lot that go into those numbers, man. But I mean, fortunately, yes, I did have more sacks my sophomore year, and just going into this year, I mean, that's obviously one of my emphasis is just getting that stat down on that paper. It's just different when you kind of get that in your mindset. But I mean, it's also different when you're playing for a team as well. So I mean, last year, I mean, I could say I did what I needed to do for the other guys to rely on me. And, I mean, if that didn't reflect in my sack numbers, then, I mean, it is what it is. But I'm just happy where we got as a team.
And I always tell people it's not always about the numbers. It's about affecting the quarterback. And I think you did a hell of a job doing that next year. Now, obviously, the numbers always look great. And for lazy football fans, they can just look at the numbers. But once you turn on that tape, you saw the impact that you were trying to make. I want to ask you directly, as a player, how can you get better? Like, what are you telling yourself that you need to get better at on the field?
It'd just be the finish. I mean, it's just straining to finish, just putting emphasis on the finish. I mean, like you said, it's a lot that go into it. I did get a lot of pressures last year, probably around the same or if not more than last year, but it's about the finish, just straining the finish. I definitely had a lot of quarterback hits, and I'm just sitting there looking at the tape thinking about how could I have got there one step quicker to make it a sack, and then, I mean, I'm in a different position. So it's just kind of just taking those things that I learned from my past 2 seasons and just focusing on, like I said, finishing, just small details that just help me get there one step faster.
Mm-hmm.
I think looking forward to next year, I think a lot of people have high expectations for you. I think a lot of people are looking at you as someone that's going to be a big time contributor. And I think your accolades are going to step up too. And I didn't realize some of this when we did the notes on you, but 2022 and 2023 honorable mention all Big 12 team. But this is the part that popped out to me. 3-time honoree of the commission's honor roll. So as far as school goes, what's your favorite class or what interests you the most at Texas?
Right now, I'm a major in corporate communications. I started off in business, but I feel like corporate communication just fits more with what I would try to want to do after football. It's pretty broad, and I could just do a lot of things with that. So I take a lot of communication classes. So I mean, I say those are pretty interesting to me. Just learning the corporate side of communicating, obvious, and just seeing how that relate to just personal relationships and that type of stuff is pretty interesting as well.
Well, and obviously you're on a track for pro football, but what is it when football's done? What's something that you're interested in or would like to do if you had your wish?
Like I said, somewhat that like on the communications and corporate side. I mean, there's just so much you could do with that, and that's what I value outside of football is just relationships, and then obviously on the corporate and business side, I mean you can set yourself up financially with that. So that's basically what I just plan to do, just use my communication skills to put myself in a good position.
As we go into next season, there's notable names on the D-line, starting with your name, Barryn Sorrell. Then you got Anthony Hill, who occasionally comes off the edge. You got a few guys, Ethan Burke, a lot of hype around Colin Simmons. What's a name that people might not be talking about as much that you're looking for an unbelievable season from?
I say AC, Alfred Collins, man. Okay. I mean, like it's every year. I mean, you see. I mean, he's a ball player, and I just feel like this year, just him settling in and then us going into his I think it's going to be a good chance for him to really just take off and show everybody what everybody been expecting him to do.
And it's funny that you say that because we had him right before we had you. So it's funny transitioning to this, but just like I asked you, how does AC take the next step in his game from what you see on film?
Right. Just kind of like, I mean, like you.
I'm gonna have to interrupt y'all real fast. We have a special guest coming in, Mr. Jeremy Hills.
Oh wow.
Who said he couldn't be here, but he had to call in to ask you a question. So we'll get back to that question because it's a good one. Hold on, let's see if we can make this work. Okay. This is Nick Shuley at 3rd and Longhorn.
You sound like you're ready to take my burger order.
Okay. We got Barryn Sorrell right here, man. I know you had something you wanted to ask him. What do you got?
Yeah, Barryn, what's up, man? It's Jeremy Hills. Sorry I couldn't be there. I really needed to ask you this, and I didn't need Oak to steal my questions. So, no, my question is simple, man. Everybody that we've talked to, damn near every single person that's come in and sat on that show has told us that, like, you're top dog. You're the leader. You're the person that they think is going to lead the team, going into next season. I'm just curious, like, why is that? Why do you think your peers revere you and look at you in the light that they do?
I'll just say, just kind of, we were actually just talking about it, but I worked my way up the ranks and I just kept my nose down. And I mean, I feel like I earned everybody respect. I mean, it takes time at first. I mean, you got to earn their respect with the work first. And then, I mean, once they start respecting the work, then I just started getting more vocal. And I feel like people just agree with what I was saying. Like I was saying earlier, I just take kind of little tidbits from past experiences. I mean, I done been in the program for 3 years and I done seen the downside of it and I done seen, where we were last year. So just being able to use those experiences from my freshman year and just having great leaders before me, like guys like Roe, Bijan, and Demo, and just taking those experiences and then using it to formulate my own voice and just helping lead this team.
Love that. Like that. Hey, like one thing you said, man, work come first.
Right.
Work come first. I definitely respect it. Well, look, man, I'm a fan of your game. I'm looking forward to watching you ball. And look, if they chose you as a leader, then lead us.
Yes, sir.
That's all I say. Lead us. So, yeah, man, keep doing your thing. And I'm looking forward to hearing this entire interview, man.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Hey, Jay, I got a question for you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can.
Hey, we wish you was in studio so you could ask that question yourself. I've never seen you miss an interview with a running back.
Oak, I don't have time for this.
All good. We'll let you go.
I wish you a blessed day, Alex Oak.
Awesome. Thanks, Hills, man. We appreciate you.
All right, guys.
Later, man. All right, back to where we were before we were so rudely interrupted.
Right. No, I was just saying, we had Alfred Collins right before you had come in, and we asked him some similar questions. But I want to ask you, from what you're watching on tape, from you playing with him for a couple seasons, what does he need to do, in your opinion, to take that next step?
Right. Everybody has seen like what he can do, and I just say like kind of with Sweat and Murph and what we was talking about earlier, just the idea of dominance. I mean, he has every ability to be able to do that. And I feel like that's the next step. I mean, once he just dominate, play in and play out, game in and week in and week out, I think the sky's the limit for AC.
Well, we had a conversation, I think it was 2 weeks ago, with Gavin Holmes, and I think you know where this is going to go. Yeah. But we obviously played a game in the college football playoff, and it happened to be the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, Louisiana. Yep. What did that mean for you to get to go back to your hometown and play in the dome, et cetera?
Words can't express the feeling, man. I mean, it's just it's a full circle moment. I mean, you literally leave. I leave 3 years ago not knowing if I'm ever going to be able to play a game my hometown. So, and then on that type of stage, it's just unreal, and it's a blessing just to have that as a memory. We played in that game, and I played in my home city.
How did you handle the ticket requests?
I know everybody was trying.
Oh gosh, man! And I know that one's got to be hard.
I was working, man, for weeks. I mean, as soon as we found out, literally, like on the TV when we were looking and we found out we were in the playoffs. I mean, right after, I'm already trying to find out like who got extra tickets so I could hurry up and get that squared away so that I could just focus on the game. But I got it done early, and I was able to get about 13, 14 people in. So,
ooh, wow.
Yeah, so it worked out good. So
that was awesome. Had you ever played in the Superdome before?
Yeah, back in Park Ball. So, I don't know if you count that, but we played at halftime, a little intermission game. So, yeah, that was a little something. But other than that, no.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, I was fortunate enough to play in the Superdome for 2 seasons. I played for the Saints for 2 years, and that place is special. Like, everybody asks me, what's my favorite place to play? What's the loudest stadium I've ever played in? I don't think anything comes close to that Superdome. Like, once it gets rocking, that thing is different out there. So
that playoff game was deafening. Like, it got points, like, especially when y'all started coming back. Like, that thing got, those Texas fans activated. It got loud.
It's unreal. Barryn, have you had a chance to kind of interact with Coach Kenny Baker at all? And if you have, what do Texas fans expect to see from him as a coach?
Yeah, I actually been able to interact with him quite a bit. We actually going to start breaking down and just looking at past games and just catch up. And, there's always things you can learn from a guy like him that has the experience he has, and obviously coming from the NFL and with a very productive defensive line as well. So I'm just trying to take in as much as I can, man. He definitely has a lot of things he could teach me, and he already started teaching me things. So I'm just looking forward to building our relationship. And you definitely could just expect a coach that cares, that actually cares about who's in this room, and then actually just cares about the development of players. Because he's putting emphasis every day so far on just little things and trying to clean up things that just maybe have not been, I want to say, like, not have been as highlighted in the past. But he's a good coach that's just focused on the details and just focused on development.
Well, let's stay in SEC country talk. So obviously, you 3 years at Texas, you played similar environments, right? We play the same teams, go back and forth to these stadiums, et cetera, and you start to get to know a lot of the guys, right? So next year, we're moving into a whole different league, et cetera, with a bunch of new things happening. What are you looking forward to most about going into the SEC?
The energy. We all know, like, especially, when we done played Bama and we done had our SEC match, it's just the energy, and it's every week. And then just looking for that challenge as well. Obviously, this is supposed to be the best conference for football, so I'm just looking forward to being able to be challenged week in and week out, and just looking forward to that competition.
Yeah, and are you a player that does that help feed you when you have all those people, like at that Bama game, right? Like that. It's a violent crowd. Almost,
it's definitely a perk for everybody else on the field. If anybody tell you different, I don't know if they telling the truth, because but that's what makes college football college football. It's just that's what everybody loves about it. That type of energy. It just can't be replicated. It's when it's out there. It's just everybody feeds off it on the field.
Yeah, I think that's Texas fans can expect a whole new level of fandom. I think some of them experience and go to the Bama game. I've been to a bunch of Georgia games and some of the other SEC environments. it's awesome. It's rough too. So I think it's going to be, we'll definitely have the motivation we're looking for next year.
Yeah. And next year, are there any stadiums that you're excited to go play in next year in the SEC?
In the SEC, I mean, honestly, all of them. I mean, that's kind of what makes the SEC. I mean, everybody, like, it's a challenge week in and week out, and everybody has their fans, and everybody's bringing their energy. So I'm looking forward to every matchup, honestly.
And I think they get to do something nobody's done in a while, which is going to College Station, man. And that's going to be, I think we hadn't talked about that much on the podcast. That's going to be fun.
So that's going to be special because I played in the last game against A&M when Justin Tucker hit that game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch that highlight, I'm actually on that field goal unit, and I tackled Jay Tucker after that play. But that's going to be special. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's going to be special. Do you know how big that rivalry? Like, do you know what that means around here? That rivalry?
I have a pretty good understanding, and like you said, just knowing that we haven't played them in a long time. I can only imagine the energy it's going to be when the energy that's built up over time, and what it's going to be when we go out there to play them.
You've been around college ball when there wasn't NIL and kind of transitioning now to where you can't get away from it. It controls the college landscape. What are the biggest differences that you see between pre-NIL and now post-NIL?
I definitely just say it makes kids grow up faster. I mean, there's more of a business side to college football now that, it probably wasn't as much at first. But, I just say the business side of it is present and is there early on. Yeah,
and would you say there's any negatives to the NIL landscape the way it is now?
I feel like it's always going to be negatives. Just in reality, you still got, it's still young people at the end of the day, and all of this money and type of stuff, and all these NIL deals could just become a distraction. So I think that could be a negative, but also it just weed out the people that's, I feel like, just not really in it for the right thing. I feel like you could easily get distracted. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of cases that's showing up around that you could see that NIL is affecting certain players. But when your mind is on the right thing and you're just focused on the right thing, I feel like NIL is just a blessing for you.
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head. Like, obviously, before NIL, kids weren't having money in their pockets. So if money was a solid motivator for you, then that could get you through the practices. That could get you through the workouts. But now, post-NIL, y'all have money in y'all's pockets now. So that can't be a motivating factor anymore. Right. So now it's separating the kids that do this for the love of the game, and it separates the kids that, are just trying to bag chase. Yeah. And I think you hit it right on the head with that.
Yeah, well, and I don't think we've asked this much besides maybe the legendary Bird Auburn. We asked this when we interviewed him. But, man, if you could pick one company to sponsor you, like, what's your favorite thing that you could go get to sponsor you, or something that it's like I use this every day or I eat this every day?
I say at one point it was Chipotle. It's Chipotle probably. I was eating, especially I kind of moved now, but like where I was living, I had Chipotle like right there, so like almost every day. Then it's also healthy, so it's like it helps me as well. So it helps me perform. So I'm using Chipotle. I'm eating Chipotle every day, like a bowl with chicken. Like you can't go wrong.
All right, we got to get on that.
Yeah,
Chipotle. Who in your opinion is the funniest person on the team?
Last year's team, I gotta go with Sweat.
I don't even know why I asked.
I'm pretty sure everybody knows. Yeah. He's he got the loudest voice, and that's what just makes it even funny. It's like, and then he doesn't care. He just says whatever he wants. So it's just hilarious. He's hilarious.
Who is the biggest motivator on the team last year?
The biggest motivator on the team last year, I'd say Jay Ford.
Mm-hmm.
He took on that leadership role, and he definitely. In times when there was things that need to be said, he would say it, and he always, especially defensively, just kept us going.
Well, that being said, who do you see stepping into that role this year? Do you see that being you, or do you see that anybody else?
Yeah, I see that being myself. Like I said, I just kind of sat back and waited my turn and just took things from people like Jay Ford to be able to do this in the position I'm in now.
That's great. That's a good man to look up to.
And we talked about leadership styles with AC Alfred Collins. What type of leader are you? Like, are you a vocal leader? Are you a lead by example type guy? Like, what's your style?
I say a little bit of both. You can't just say things and not do it and expect people to listen to you and respect what you're saying. So I definitely think every leader has to have some type of example setting to their leadership style. So I definitely say it starts with leading by example, then also vocally as well. I like to be able to just help other people get going as well and just be able to say the things that need to be said when they need to be said.
Well, and so tell me this, if you were talking to, say you guys have a recruit come through or a younger kid come through, like why would you push them to Texas? Like what stands out for you?
I mean, it's just everything about this university. I mean, since I've been here, man, it's just been nothing but blessings on and off the field. I mean, right now where we are football-wise, I mean, it's different from maybe 3 years ago. You could say something about football or whatever, but I mean, right now with one of the top programs in the country right now, and what Coach Sark is building is special. And it's just when you could see just a school that obviously came from where we came from and see where we are now football-wise, I feel like it just kind of shows like that something special is there. Just for Coach Sark to be able to turn things around like that. So, I mean, football, I mean, it speaks for itself. And then off the field, I mean, we got the best, I mean, of everything. I mean, connections is literally out of this world. So, I mean, you really get the best of everything. And then lastly, you living in a city. I mean, as opposed to all of these different colleges, especially with dealing with SEC schools. I mean, not many of them are in a city like Austin. So, yeah. I mean, it's really like, it's just no loss with Texas, literally.
Yeah, you got it. And now the crazy thing is you've got the town behind it, right? Everybody got excited last year. So it's going to, like, things are going to ramp up even more next year. You got the city behind you. You got the businesses behind you. And I think, and, you know, going into the SEC, I think the audience realizes, like, as a crowd, we're going to have to step up and become one of those atmospheres that not the place people want to go visit, but the place that becomes a tough place to play. So yeah. I think, fans have got to step up next year too.
Absolutely. We got to do our part now.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off Nick, with now fans having those expectations, like jumping on board, rallying, as players, how do y'all manage those expectations? Because I can assume last year heading into the season, y'all knew how good y'all could be, but it wasn't broadcasted. Right. Like y'all could kind of keep that in-house. Now it's being brought. Literally every article I see has Texas at the top.
Top 5.
And I mean, it took us long enough, but we here, and it's a good problem to have. So how do the players manage those type of expectations?
Yeah, you're right. It definitely could be a distraction. I mean, obviously that's the first time we're going to be in this position the last 3 years because we were exceeding expectations, like you just said. So now we have these expectations already set. But I feel like it just brings a whole nother animal out of us because it's like now this is what everybody expecting. So, I mean, like Coach Sark always say, like, we got to give the people what they want. So, I like that. I mean, yeah, this is what's expected
Shark's
of us.
A showman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you just got to keep the main thing. I mean, regardless of what the expectations are, whether they're low or they're high, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about what we do and how we play. So, I mean, that's what we got to focus on, and that's definitely going to be the main point that we're focusing on as a team going into this season.
That's awesome.
I'll say this. I only got this question and maybe one more.
Yeah.
But the mark of a good D-line to me is the depth up front. And last year when you cut on y'all's tape, Coach Bo rotated y'all a lot. Like, y'all had bodies going in and out, staying fresh. Looking at the defensive end room heading into next season, what can we expect from guys underneath you? Like, we know what you bring to the table. You're an older guy. We know you're going to be one of the captains on the team. Defense is going to be leaning on you. So we know what we're going to get out of you week in and week out. What can we expect from everybody else in that room?
Our room is pretty interesting because, I mean, just 3 years ago, everybody might have said, oh, we don't get enough production and those type of things. But now you look at the tape and look at the impact we had last year, and now it's reversed. We got young guys that stepped up. So I'm very excited for our room this year. We definitely have some depth, like you said, and just being able to rotate and not really having much drop off. I mean, we got guys like Ethan that didn't have a good season last year that's coming back, and he still wants some more. So you got guys like that. You got young guys like Justice. You got guys like Tab that's supposed to be stepping up, and I'm expecting great things from all of them just because I didn't see the work that they put in. So I'm looking forward to the depth in our room. And you got a guy like Trey Moore coming in from UTSA that definitely can add some value to our room as well.
And speaking of Trey Moore, he's somebody that not too many of us Longhorn fans know about. What can you give us about him? Like, personality type, like guy, obviously we know he has to be a hard worker or he wouldn't be where he's at, but can you give us anything on Trey and what we can expect from him?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, he's a hard worker. I mean, just coming from where he come from, it's like he has a chip on his shoulder. And I mean, that when you got that type of edge, I mean, it definitely it brings out another type of type of edge that you have that other people might not have just in competition. So I'll just say Trey, so far he's just been a hard worker, quiet guy, just knows what to do and how to do it. And he's full throttle on everything. So I'm looking forward to what he can do.
Absolutely.
I got one more before we let you get out of here. Okay, so if you had to put your money on one guy having a breakout season on the offense next year, who's that?
Will Quinn count? I'll say Quinn.
That's an easy one, but go on.
Yeah.
Go deeper.
All right. I'll say Quinn. He didn't got better every year he's been here. So just with this final year and him I feel like him just knowing that, the type of guy Quinn is, I'm expecting big things from him this year.
And as far as someone people don't probably know or expect something from, who's that person for you on offense?
I'll take C4, the running back, Cedric Baxter. I think he's going to have a breakout year, big back, especially going into the SEC. I think he's just going to have a great year. That's what I expect from him.
Awesome. Well, Barryn, we can't thank you enough for taking the time out, man. And we'd love to have you come back sometime later in the year too and talk a little more. But thanks so much, man. And yeah, we're looking forward to watching your season.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
awesome,
it.
man. Hook 'em.